All right, we're back, everybody. How's everyone doing? Got the crude oil report coming up in about 3 minutes or so, maybe a little less. Big chart on the bottom right is Spotlight Master Suite. It's an 8-tick momentum bar. That's the one I'll be focusing on. On the lower left is the counterpunch with the 377 tick. And on the upper left is a 20-tick momentum bar with Spotlight, unleaded gas futures. An alternative plan. Some of you like that. So as usual, we'll wait our 2 minutes and then we'll start looking for trades. I hear ya. Good morning, Johnny. Yeah, more coffee. I've had 3 already. This West Coast living has its advantages. It also has some disadvantages. I mean, getting done really early in the day is nice. The problem I have is later in the day and the evening. Getting to bed early enough. That's the hard part. I almost rather get up later and work later into the day and later into the evening. So I don't know, I'm probably an East Coaster at heart. Hello to you, Miles. Alright, so anyway, you guys know the drill. If you have any questions, this is a good time to ask. Still got another minute. Yeah, well, I'm not going to argue Europe, Pamela. I'm all in on that too. I've never lived in either place, but I've spent a lot of time in Europe, and I love it there. And I had a great time in Buenos Aires, which is an hour earlier than New York time. 4-hour difference from West Coast. Hard to get up early and then stay up late. Yeah, Andrew, trust me. Well, my kids are grown, but yeah. On the West Coast, I find I just start my work day earlier and then work longer. So instead of finishing early, I end up finishing later, and my work days are much longer. Not the whole trading part of it, but then all the trading related things. All right, so here we go. Let's pay attention. The report will come out any second here. Don't forget, it's Fed Day. It's another fly in the ointment. It's not your typical session. Well, you can see the reaction right there happening. Crude in the $95 a barrel range. Paying obscene prices at the pump here in California. All right, first minute is gone. We'll wait another minute. Well, that's a short at 95.68, but a lot can happen in the next 15 seconds. I'd almost say it's gone too far at this point. There it is. So it's hit its target already, so now we just wait for the next setup. Definitely makes things easy. I hate it when it gets within a tick or two and doesn't quite hit our money management level where we would move our stop, when it barely misses. And then it's like, oh man, it went so far, not quite far enough. What do we do? That's always hard. But this was easy. It hit the target. We're not going to chase it. We have to wait for another setup. No decision to make there. The decision's already made. It's made for us. That's the beauty of a trade plan. It's just like what I was showing you earlier in the session this morning, that the exhaustion dots were a tick or two away, further away, for missing that nice short setup. The spirit of the strategy did its job, but the inputs are all, based on tendencies and what's, default settings that are most likely to happen most of the time. But sometimes the markets need a little bit more of a dynamic approach. It's the same type of thing when you just miss a target by 1 or 2 or 3 ticks. A good trade? I think it is, if it barely misses. Can't expect perfection. That makes decision making a little tricky. It's nice when there's no decision to make, because when the target's hit, we wait for another setup. So that decision's clear now. I prefer that than having to make some sort of a subjective decision. It's always tricky. The tendency is to be too much of an artist, and you want to be just hardly an artist, just a tiny bit. What does that mean? There's always a gray area. Gives traders a lot of trouble. So that's a filtered out long trade, and it's because of the crossing over of the moving averages. So once the moving average, the 50, crosses over the 200, we need an 8-bar count before we get long. And then you could use the gray trade if it comes back to the entry. That's a technique, but again, here we are finding overhead resistance with those moving averages. So that's a tough one. I mean, you either get long here, and because the filter came off, I was talking about this in Discord just yesterday, or you just, gray means flat and you just wait for the next setup. Because that 50 and that 200 on a strong action move down and a reaction into the lines, maybe not the best time to get long, but on the other hand, the filter came off and then it flipped on down and touched the entry. So you can make an argument, and now look, it was a winner. So that's always hard, right? That's what I mean about the art to trading. So here's the takeaway. And if you're doing your back testing and creating a trade plan, this is a question you need to answer and ask for yourself. If there's a filter and then the filter comes off, and that filter comes off at the magenta bar, does the setup become valid? And if so, I mean, that's something you could easily include. You could see it came down and hit the entry and then went right up to target, and it would have been a winner. That's not programmed in to the tools. But it is the way I used to trade this strategy before the tools were created. Like I said, the strategy exists beyond the dots on the chart. The dots on the chart, the tools are meant to help us interpret and use the strategy, but there's nuance. Whether you count it or not has to depend on your own work when you create your trade plan. Can't tell you what to do in that regard. I personally like using it, but it's not something that I've spent much time teaching you guys, so we'll count this trade here as the first trade. So it's 95.61 if it comes back up. It went really fast. If it stops out, we'll just let it go. If it comes back up, yeah, it just stopped out. So that went too fast, which was lucky for us. So we'll still wait. It's tempting to consider that gray trade as the winner and not throw money at this market right now. But again, it's all trade plan specific. I'm wondering if anyone in here is using that idea. If a filter comes off, get in sync with the gray trade. Is there anyone in here doing that? Or is that a fresh new idea for you guys? Just curious. I think I got to check your guys' pulse. Is there anybody fogging a mirror in this trade room? Take a mirror, put it in front of your mouth, breathe, and let me know if it fogs up. Hey, Todd, it's all on our YouTube channel. Pamela's barely fogging the mirror. It's all on the YouTube channel, Todd. There's so much content on there. You can listen to your heart's content. I think last week was a good one, if I remember correctly. I lost track of how many years I've been doing this around the 18th year. Has it been that long? Maybe it's 16. Maybe it's 20. I don't know. It all blends. But, I mean, it's on the YouTube channel, so everything we've done is there. Ad nausea. All right, you notice the exhaustion dots right on that 50 moving average. That tells us a yellow trade, and there it is. Was imminent. We're going to go 95.27. We're going to get below that little spike on the left, see if it can push through. 95.27. It's a small trade, so we're going to go to target 2, 95.15 or beyond, and the stop is at 95.46. All right, so 2-tick adjustment, small trade. Target 1 we're not going to use, it's too small. It's only a 12-tick target 2 if we adjust 2 ticks. Not my favorite kind of setup. It is what it is. Yeah, so you can see how with counterpunch it's really slowed down. It's not what it used to be. That's why I moved away from it with this report. There is a short trade right there. That's your first trade of the morning on counterpunch. Short at 95.24. So the adjustment on the short trade has kept us flat, and then it would have stopped out. So adjusting on the short trade saved us a losing trade. And, you know, again, Fed day and pretty flaky price action. And you got to wonder if the opportunity was already missed with the gray trade I pointed out after the filter came off. And if that is the trade, which did get to a perfect target too, is it wise to then keep trying? There's a long now, 95.43. The stop's at 95.24. Target 1 is 95.54. So this is First trade, 95.43, and it just hit target 1. Was anyone able to grab that? I can't tell if, anyway, it just came down and stopped out at break even, so yeah, so John, with using the MCL chart, I'm using the CL chart and placing the trades on MCL. But I haven't been able to get my mouse over fast enough and keep my eye on everything. And so I'm not fighting City Hall today. It didn't work for me. I didn't get a trade placed. But, I think that's it, guys. That's your power of quitting. Not much to write home about, but it's something. And considering that we're got an unusual session today with the markets hanging on what the Feds are going to do, I'm afraid that's as good as it gets for us this morning. So let me know if you have any questions. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I appreciate it. But I don't know what more there is. Is anyone trading anything else? If you're in counterpunch, there's your long trade, 95.68. You remember how many bars we used to get when the report came out, and now we got just this? It's really weird because we still have the same, lots of volume. But for whatever reason, lots of volume and not a lot of bars. And I don't know what happened and why things changed. But that's the first trade, targeting 96.23, and the stops at 95.24. And money management, of course, is target 1, 96.04. It's got to get over this little swing high to get there, and it's hitting it now, and that's a 36 target 1 and a 55-cent target 2. Yeah, go play golf on Fed days, maybe. Crude oil certainly delivered the goods this morning. I don't know, if it can't get above that swing level, it'd be tempting to reduce the risk on that stop, on that trade. But if it punches through, it could keep going. This could be a good one. It's trying to punch through, and if it does, this could be a nice trade here. There it is. So if you're in that trade, move your stop to break even. There's your first trade of the session for counterpunch. Today's Fed day and the trading's kind of good. Spotlight wasn't great, but the losing trades were too fast and the winning trades were tradable. So that worked out. And now your first trade of the day on counterpunch, you're at least at break even. And depending on how many contracts you're trading, or if you're trading micros, that's a good chunk of change to maybe take a little profit and make this your one and done. 36 cents is $360 for the full contract. Yeah, John, maybe. That's an interesting theory. That seems logical. It's possible that's what happened. The micro contract screwed up the tick chart on the full contract. Because the tick chart is just buy and sell orders and doesn't matter on how many contracts. So that could be true. You could have a 100 contract trade and a 1 contract trade, and it's still just one tick on that 377 tick bar. So, that's as good a theory as any. It's well thought out. And that may be it. I don't know. All right. You guys good? Do I need to keep monitoring this? Is anyone in this trade? Look at that. Almost pushing on target 2 right there. Getting really close on a 55-cent. There it is. Target 2. $550 a contract on the full contract. And the stop moving higher. Good job, Pamela. That stops at 74. I mean, fewer bars, but, you know, the system doesn't really care. It just takes more time now. All right, well, Pamela, I know you know how to trade this. I'm going to call this session over. I've got to jump off. I have an appointment to get to. So everyone have a wonderful day. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I appreciate it. Don't forget, John will be here tomorrow. And I'll see you guys next time.